Ojite guys, hey, welcome back. Okay, so this video is called Where's the Beef? What's the beef? What's the beef? And as I sit and ponder, as I often do, you know, this is what I do. I sit and ponder about things. I'm sitting here pondering about why is America so divided? Why can't we come together and agree on one thing, really, you know, in solidarity, you know, unitedly? And it came to me that United States is divided. We are divided. Remember, I had another video where I went through all the devil, where the devil is when you're dancing with the devil. And one of the biggest things that the devil does, or the devil energy does, is it divides. And when I went down the road, down the line of all the things that United States are divided on, we are 5 for 5 on the top issues, that subject matters that we can possibly be divided for. And I'm going to read them off real quick. So the United States, we are divided racially. We are divided. I'm going to read them off first, and then I'll go over each one. I'm just going to talk a little bit. I'm going to make this video short. The United States is divided racially, you know. So United States is divided economically. United States is divided politically. United States is divided socially. And last but not least, the United States is divided religiously. That's 5 for 5. 5 for 5. Can you think of anything that the United States is actually united on? I mean, the one thing, I have one actual thing that the United States is united on, and that's for being asleep. United States is in a daze. The United States American people are in a daze, and they are in a haze, and they do not want to wake up out of their sleep and slumber. And so, well, because they're in their sleep and slumber, things are going to go on around them, and when the shit hit the fan, they're going to be looking like who, what, when, where, or why. You know, so that's just my little disclaimer. So if you are asleep, if you don't know you're asleep, and you hear this video and you're like, well, am I asleep? That's a good point. That's the first start, because not everybody knows everything, and sometimes we can be in a situation and we might not even know or recognize that that's what we're actually in. But United States, the American people are asleep, and I said it in another video, and I feel as though that they have a sense of, they're so used to doing whatever they want, per se, the appearance, the illusion of doing whatever they want and making their own choices. But the reality is, the American people are guided. They are guided. They are on a track, and they don't even recognize that they're on a track, and the train is guiding them to everywhere the conductor wants them to go. And so let's get into this division. So we got five areas, issues, subject matters of division, which really is the most fundamental subject matters that we can possibly talk about as far as a people. Okay, so let's talk about, what did I say first? Racially. Look at my skin color. I'm brown, you know. I'm brown, black. I'm of the black American, you know. And I know that, you know, a lot of black people say I'm African American. Well, who brought that up? Because I've never been to Africa, you know. My ancestors, you know, but I've never personally been to Africa, you know what I mean? So I am a black American. I was here. I've been here, you know, my whole life, you know. So I'm brown, and there's a lot of other brown people, you know. The spirit, the dividedness that is presented to the brown people of this country is horrendous. I mean, I have stories, and you know, and I know we don't have that much time, but I can have story after story after story about how it is to be black in America. And it's not a party. It's not a fun thing. So, you know, the divided in that aspect is troublesome, because it's when people say, oh, it's racism. Well, guess what? Racism is not a thing. Racism is a choice. Racism is implemented, and racism it sticks around because somebody keeps it as a trophy. When you keep something, when you want to cherish something, when you want to keep it as whatever, a tool or a resource or an instrument, then you keep it around. Because if you want to get rid of something, think about it. You say spring cleaning. If you want to do spring cleaning on your house, and you find things, let's say you find a tool or something that you no longer use, you haven't used it in years, and you're like, you know what, I don't need this. You know, it's not serving any purpose. But when you have a tool, that can divide at the drop of a hat, a tool that will create a division so fast that it'll make your head spin, you will never throw that away, because that's your ace. That's your ace in the hole, right? You're going to keep a tool like that. If you got a tool that you can use anytime that you want to create a division, if you want to, look at my hand over here while this hand over here is doing something off camera, then you keep that tool that creates the divide. And that's exactly what's been going on with the racism in this country, especially between the black and brown communities. I mean, it's just no other way around it. It's time that we stop pussyfooting around, like pretending that the racial stigmas are not there, because they are. And to be black, you have to be black or brown to actually experience them and know what they are. So this is just one of those things where we are definitely divided, and there's a disparaging difference in the things that's available. And I'm not going to say it is much better now. And there's a lot of things now that people have to fight for, and even in that fight there's still a disparaging a stipulation that's put in place. So even though we may say, okay, well, I want to fight for that and I want to get that, there's still some form of stipulation, some sort of stair step, some sort of blockage or challenge that you would have to overcome to actually get to where you want to be. And that's just the reality of it, and guess what? The black and brown people, they still persevere. They still keep on trucking. They still persevere, and that just says a lot about their character, their essence, their soul, their spirit of who they are. And in my personal opinion, that alone is the whole reason for keeping that division too. Because when someone's spirit, someone's soul, the essence of somebody, you already know that if it gets to its full potential, that it will rain down and cause hell to your agenda. It's just the way it is. And so if you know something like that, if it gets to its full potential, it's going to rain down and cause hell. You're going to do everything in your power to make sure that one thing stay out of its power and stay beneath its power. And that's just the way it is. And let me see what else. And I'm not going to say that black and brown is the only racial differences or the divide that there is, because, that you got Jews, you got Indian people who experience racism too. You got Jews who experience racism. I mean, you got all different nationalities. The ones who are implicit in delivering the racism is every other culture is opposite the culture of the black and brown cultures, or the certain religious cultures, the Jews and stuff like that. So it's real. The divide is real, and it's done on purpose, because as a people, we are group oriented. We like to be with our own kind, and it's just, you see it in nature. It's everywhere. If you go in the jungle, the lions are going to be with the lions, the tigers with the tigers, the monkeys with the monkeys. Everybody likes to be with their own kind, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's understandable, right? So if someone goes against someone's kind, then it's almost like, and then you got an antagonizer that's antagonizing that opposition, or that's egging on those perceived differences, then yes, it's going to make each race get defensive on the subject matter. And if you was to actually sit down and break it down, of the races, that has a division or disagreement, opposing opinions, if they were to actually sit down and talk about it, they would actually see that it probably was a miscommunication, and there's no actual divide necessary there, but it was implemented. You know what I mean? It's almost like, when I was in school, when I was young, in elementary and middle school, when it was a fight, somebody would put something on the other person's shoulder. Those are antagonists. Those are antagonizers. They antagonize chaos, and so that's what we have right here, right now. We have antagonizers. They antagonize it. So they're the ones that putting something on the shoulder, and they'll tell the other person, if you bad, knock that off their shoulder, and guess what? When you knock it off their shoulder, then the battle begins. So that's exactly what's taking place in this so-called racial divide. And it's time to stop, because at the end of the day, we are all one race. That's the human race. And until we figure that out, we all going to be lost. There's going to be a lot of people that lose their lives. There's going to be a lot of people that lose a lot of things. They're going to lose themselves, because if you don't know why you're against another race, if you're not taking the time to find out, communicate, and find out what's going on, what are they thinking, what's going on in their mind, what's their views, and accept their views, because we're all not going to think the same thing, but we can start to have the conversation to be able to hear, at least know what the other one is feeling or thinking, you know. And until that happens, we're going to be forever lost as a human race, you know, because let's face it, if something was to happen, you know, I'm talking about this impeding war, because once again, this is the TKO Raw, and it is the TKO. I'm trying to TKO your asses, and I'm doing it rawly. I'm trying to give you reality, advising of the impeding war that is headed for the United States. And let's say it does head for the United States. Let's say everybody is wiped out and you walking all alone. You gonna be happy to see any human race. It wouldn't matter if they white, blue, purple, green, or brown. If you find yourself by yourself in a situation where there's not much to go on, you see any race, you're going to be more than happy to run. You might even hug that race. And that race is going to be your best friend. And you would stick with that human race if that was the only one there. So these are the things that you need to think about. People want to be so distolerant or intolerant of other races for whatever reason, because they feel comfortable in their clan, in their group, you know what I mean? But let's face it, that might not always be. Change is inevitable, and we about to go through a major change. I don't know how many times I gotta tell y'all that. I'm going through these videos so y'all can change your minds, so y'all can start opening your eyes, so you can think, why are we divided? What are we divided? What is the division? What's the beef? What is the beef? There is no beef. There is no beef. It is imaginary. It's an illusionary beef by that antagonizer that hides his hand. And that's a part of society. That's the powers that be, you know, because let's face it, if you want to stop racism, stop treating people differently. It ain't no big, this ain't rocket scientists. If you want to stop racism, stop treating certain groups of people differently, period. It ain't hard. So they just make it seem like it's hard. So anyway, let me go over the other divisions that we got going on. So I said racially, politically. I went over that in another video too. And like I said, there's like over 300 million people. I don't know what the count is. At one time I thought I was seeing 350. Okay, let's go with over 300 million. There's over 300 million people in the United States. Why in the hell do we only have two groups? You know, either or. Why do we only have two political parties, you know? And that makes absolutely no sense to me. So now you're forced, you know, and they wonder why people, and, you know, people will say, well, out of the candidates, you know, who do you like? You know, and people say, well, you know, I don't know. And I just heard on the radio today, somebody said that they didn't know. And somebody like really got down, you know, went off on them. And they was like, what do you mean you don't know? You didn't hear the debate? They had a debate and the candidates are obvious. You know, well, guess what? The candidate that you choose might not be as obvious for somebody else. And the problem is, this is a problematic issue. There's only two races, either or. It's a divide. It's not together. It's a divide. Like I said before, there should be five. There should be five for over 300 million people. How can possibly two candidates, two political parties serve the population of over 300 million? There's no way they can do it. There should be five, be all where we have a true position. We have a true place in we the people, because right now as it stands, we the people, that's probably the only part that we the people have involvement in this country's decision making and rules and policies. Just the fact that those words are on the Constitution, that's it. If you really look at it, if you attach that to going behind a curtain and putting the check marks on a box through a computer, that's it. That's where we the people stop. And you need to read it for yourself, you know. I'm giving you the information, the clues, the, you know, the tidbits where you can go and start doing research for yourself. Because if you don't start doing research for yourself, you're always going to be led. And like I said, if you're led, you are a sheep. You are not a leader. You are a sheep. You walking through life waiting for somebody, your herder, to come with that stick and to gear you to the left or gear you to the right. So start reading, start researching, people. This is the only way you're going to gain your own wisdom, you know, because at this days and time, we got to gain our own wisdom. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But with wisdom, with critical thinking, and with discernment, we can possibly come together and think, put our heads together and think of something viable that can be for the people, for the population, for the community. But as long as we stay divided, it's going to continue to be the way it is. Things are going to collapse because it's not meant to be that way. It's just not. It's only a matter of time before it collapses, and we already see that because in between there was a lot of discrepancies going on. You know, there's highs and lows of this racial divide that they put. I think whenever they feel like they need to create I already said it, a camouflage to something, a camouflage to what they're doing, then they'll create a racial divide scenario. And then with social media now, that stuff spreads like wildflowers. It's you know, it's on one social media platform and it's on a million of them. So they know how to create a divide. What else? Let me keep going. Economically. Now, I know I don't even have to go into this because all you got to do is look in your bank account. Everybody know what their bank account say. Everybody know they and I don't like to say status because it's a made up term to try to in a sense categorize people into a certain level or certain being or a certain mind frame. You know, if I keep saying that you're lower class, you know, everybody know we can associate lower with being at the bottom. You know what I mean? So if I keep classifying you as lower class, that's going to get into your psyche and you're going to start to think of yourself as lower class. And let's face it, it's all energy. We already know. If you keep saying one thing, you know, telling somebody something, they're going to believe it to be true. And that's what their mind is going to focus on. So I don't like the state classes, but the economic division in this country is, I don't even have a word for it. Let's see. It is definitely, it's not yoked. I mean, it's not equally yoked at all. It is disparagingly different. I believe is designed that way. I honestly do. In my perspective, I believe that the financial, the economic system within the United States is designed. It's no coincidence because you could not tell me. I don't care if people don't do a book. Some things are innate in people. You mean to tell me that there's only a 1 to 3% of the population within this United States that has some kind of idea of how to build and maintain wealth? I just refuse to believe that. So once again, there's an antagonizer in the midst, and yeah, you know, we need to go and search for this antagonizer and throw their ass on out of there because it's an antagonizer in the midst of all of these. And I'm trying to bring it to the light. I'm trying to shine a light. You know, I got my flashlight. I'm trying to shine a light on who this antagonizer is, because it's most definitely an antagonizer that's implicit in all of these divisions. And until we come together as a people and start opening our eyes and start thinking as my brother is my brother, regardless of what color they is, my brother, my sister, as the human race, we're going to always stay in this division state. And I know some people, and racially, you know, let's say things happen because we know there has been a lot of injustice in the racial system beyond certain races. And you know, there was people on one side, you know, who was the side that was imposing the racism, and they did not do anything, you know, in particular to stop it. You know what I mean? Sometimes the excuse that they gave, well, you know, there was really nothing I can do. You know, I didn't do it personally. I'm not that way. I didn't do it personally. Well, if you sit around and you allow something to take place over a people, then you are almost just as implicit as, I mean, you know, as they are, you know, because we are people. We are people, plain as day. So I couldn't do anything because, you know, I didn't do it. They were doing it. That's that. Yeah, you are just as implicit, because when do somebody speak up? When does somebody speak up? Because you know why people don't speak up? Because if you don't have on those shoes, then you can close your eyes and you can close your ears and pretend you don't see it. But if those roles were reversed, you would definitely want somebody to come and speak up for you and be united with you. We're going to have to lose these divisions, guys. We're going to have to lose these hang-ups, these old divisions. Oh, and we're going to have to lose this separating yourself, trying to back out of it, you know, and trying to make it seem like you're not involved in this, that, and the other. You are involved. Because guess what? We all in this same boat. This boat that we call Earth right here, this world, we all in the same boat. And for the ones who think that they are above or immune to this, you're not. You're not. And guess what? In the very near future, you're going to see how much you are not immune to this. Because at the end of the day, the powers that be that put all this stuff in motion, they got one purpose in mind, and that's them and their money and their agenda. and you better believe it. And I highly doubt that you are on that agenda, because if you were, you wouldn't need this video. Or if you are, then you watching this video and you like, I know. But if you don't know, if what I'm telling you is foreign to you and you don't know, then you're probably not on their list. You're probably not on their list, and so you are just as in the dark as the rest of us. So get off that high horse. We gonna have to come together because we are a human race. What else? Socially, racially, socially, this is, we can go into the LGBT community, the Rainbow Coalition, and I don't know enough about that to actually speak upon it, but socially, it creates a divide, and, and I don't have anything against anybody, but I don't like nobody forcefully proposing something in somebody's face. Don't forcefully try to impose something on me, because that's going to just make me reject it. You know what I mean? So there's a divide socially, and all of these are actually connected when we talk about social division, because politics makes things socially divided. Race makes things socially divided. Look at we had the Karen thing. Now you got Karens everywhere who think that they got the right to go and fuck with brown people just because they feel like they have some kind of privilege or whatever. I don't know where that privilege thing come from, but I'm telling you, y'all better drop these hang-ups, these titles, these so-called labels, because they're fake. They're not real, because the powers that be know who the real privileged people are. And I'm going to leave it right there, because I don't have to go any further, because everything has been flipped. It's been flipped upside down. That's another video, and we'll get into that later. But I just want to say that in the big scheme of things, the ones who know, they know what they know. They know who the real privileged people are. So think about what you're doing right now. Think about how you think right now. Think about how you feel right now, as far as everything around you, in your surroundings, in your world. Because in a blink of an eye, where you sit may have a different seat. You may have a different seat. And your view may become different from what you're looking at now. Stay aware. And so socially, and so we know that, all the different cultures, all the political stuff, and so it creates a social divide. And so now people don't even want to get together. People don't even talk to each other. You go to the grocery store, and this person live on your street, you won't even talk to them. People don't even smile no more. People, what people do? They go to the grocery store and they run to their car. You could tell the fast walking, and you could tell when you walk up on people, you're walking towards them, they'll put their head down. And they'll look in their phone, and that's all, so they don't have to communicate. There's nothing wrong with saying hi. I'm telling you, and I'm going to say it again. If we ever get to a point in this country where there's not many people, or your tribe is gone and you are the only one, and you see someone of a particular race, and that's all you see, you're going to be more than happy to communicate, sit down and talk to them and engage with them, and just be around and put your heads together and think with them. Just think about that, because that could be the near future. Just think about that. And the last one that I want to talk about that's a divide within this country is religious. We got so many standards of boxes that divides us on religion. And in my opinion, it's all crap. Now, I ain't trying to frown on nobody's religion, but this is my personal opinion. All religion, in my opinion, is crap, because, the Most High is too big. It's a spirit. It's an energy. If he's got the whole world in his hand, how in the world can you possibly box something that's massive down into a box of one particular religion? And that's just my personal opinion. But, everybody can have their own religion. But I did some research, and basically, when I said how many religions are there within the United States, there are 5 main religions. And the number one religion in the United States is Christianity. And that was actually started by the Catholic Church. And to get Christianity spread around to the masses, the Catholic Church went around and they, how do I want to say it? They strongly urged. When you strongly urge somebody, you're not really giving them a choice, right? You strongly urged or suggested. You strongly suggested that they come over to the Christianity religion, because that's the one that's right, you know, and even if whether you try to argue or not, yeah, it just wasn't, it wasn't an option, you know. So Christianity is the highest, and you know, if somebody strongly suggests that you take on a certain religion, you know, and whatever tactics they use based on those suggestions, you know, I guess they would have the largest participation in a particular religion. Let me go through the next one because I'm about to close this video out. The next one that I had was oh, Protestant. It was Protestant. They said that okay, so Protestant came over here, and so all of these came over early on. Let's see, did I write when Protestant came over? I didn't really write it, but the Protestant came from like England, and they came over here, and they've been over here for like hundreds of years as well. But Protestant didn't strongly urge people to take on their religion. Protestant people just came over and they just did their thing. They went what they believe in, and they didn't strong arm or strongly suggest that anybody take over their religion. So they just did, you know, did that. Another religion is Buddhism. Now Buddhism, they said it started like in the 1800s, and it started getting popular around the 1960s, 1970s. You know, when I remember Buddhism, because you hear about all the religions, but let's face it, nobody's going to be in all of them. And so on Tina Turner, that movie, when she said her friend showed her she practiced Buddhism, that's when I first heard of Buddhism. You know what I mean? So, and I think that movie was somewhere, when they made that Tina Turner movie, it was based in like the 1960s, 1970s. So that's just my recollection, my association with Buddhism, you know, in my world. So, but yeah, they said in 1960, 1970, it started getting popular. But that was another religion that did not strongly suggest that other people take on that religion or those beliefs. They just did their thing, you know, which is how it should be. You know, should nobody, I don't think no religion should have the power to try to strong arm anybody to believe what they believe. Everybody got a dome on their head. Everybody got a dome right here. Why would I need you to come infringe on my dome and tell me what I need to believe or what I need to practice? I don't. And a lot of other people don't either. But sometimes, once again, people remain as sheep. They do what they was either seen, or they do what they've been taught to do. And until you wake up and start going on your own and start relating things to your own sensibilities, what resonate with you, then you're gonna forever be following in the footsteps of either your relatives or what they did before you, or you know, throughout your family line, or what you see everybody else doing. You know, until you can learn to walk alone or stand on your own with your own convictions and your own beliefs, then you're gonna be forever be a sheep, you know. And that's not criticizing nobody's religion. I'm just saying there should be no religion or no persons trying to force a religion or a set of beliefs onto any other person. And I stand by that, and I mean that, you know, period. Oh, and so it was another one. It was Islam. Islam, they said, you know, a lot of people don't believe that it's in the United States, but it was. And it was in the United States, but they said ultimately in the late 1900s is all the people of Islam converted over to Christianity. And I wonder why. I wonder why all of them had the urgency, you know, to merge over to Christianity. Was it by choice, or was it by force? You know, and you know, and I'm just saying, you know, but everybody do what they want to do. You know, I personally, I don't have any religion. I'm spiritual, and I like that because that leaves the field open. That leaves it open for me to decide what my sensibilities are. You know, I choose. I don't let a man who created a religion decide for me. I choose what I choose to believe in. I choose what resonates with my sensibilities, with my soul, you know, with my essence, you know, everything that is me, you know, and I'm not gonna let anybody else do that. Why would I go with another man's say on what I should believe or how I should conduct myself, you know, or how I should praise my creator, the one who created me, you know, my creator. But the relationship should be between me and my creator. And where does this other man come in telling me about a religion and all the standards that's within that religion? My relationship is with my creator. Where does that outsider come in? Where does he come get off telling me what I should believe or what standards that I should follow? You know, and this is why you have to get your own connection. That's the key. That is the key. If you want to find the key, you develop your own connection with the creator. And then you won't have to worry about that other man coming over here telling you got to do this, and this. Because you're going to already know, because you talk to the source himself, you know. And so I don't really have anything else. There's more religions. I just went over the major religions that, you know, I looked up. I just Googled what was the major religions in the United States, and those are the ones that came up. And the whole focus for me, I was like, where's the beef? Where's the beef? What's the beef? What's the beef in the United States? What is causing all these divisions? And we know the essence, the energy of the devil is somewhere in there. There's a dance. There's a visible dance that's in there somewhere, because there is clearly a beef within the population of the United States. And there's also an antagonizer that's in the midst. And that's all I have for this video today, guys. We got to get over before we go under. And until the next video, Ochite.